abogado y contador público, which is public accountant. One good strategy for plumbing is to make sure it's all out from underneath the building. We're at the falls Nant y paid fee to get in, which is good. It pays for the park, I hope. This is just the entrance area. This is the second in a series of little falls. Which presumably we'll get a better perspective of as we wander on. As I passed on the trail underneath that, what looks like a pine tree, I could hear a bazillion bees buzzing. Don't know if you'll be able to hear it. And as I look closer, it looks like there are little flowers there. But they don't really look like flowers. They look like, at the most, buds about to open. I'll get a close-up view in a second. These are the bees seen all over Argentina. Earlier I have a video of a sign that has the name of them and a closer look at them. Now it looks like they're going after the fronds, not the what I call the sea pods. This is the park's view, the nearby mountains. I believe what it says is this natural wonder is a creation of God, but protection is the obligation of man. This is a lovely, tranquil place for people to visit, spend the day looking at the falls, having a picnic. Perhaps they even let them play in the water. It runs slowly enough here. It isn't deep at all. The rule is always look. If you don't, you'll be off. Okay, so my next really great suggestion is to put a giant mirror over on that far wall that reflects back and shows us the falls while we're watching the water go over. This is the Central Park, which is kind of neat. It's, I think, an octagon. And this new building is the tourist building with baños, and the baños are beautiful baños, except for what one might imagine, there's no toilet paper. Otherwise, they're new, and they keep them in good condition by only handing out the key, like our service stations in the States often do. This is to, I think, General Fontana. Why, I don't know. There's also a street here named for him. But this also works like a circular turnaround, I think we call it. When I first got here as a way of memo, I encountered a taxi driver. He offered 50 pesos to take me out, wait for me, and bring me back. The wait isn't that long. It takes a half an hour to do the hike, but I didn't know that. And I agreed to that, telling him I would meet him in 20 minutes. Came back, got in the car, and he jacked the price up to 70. So I said, get me out. He tried to keep going. I said, get me out. I said, stop. I'm getting out. So I did. I went to the tourist office, and the standard price, because it is defined by the tourist department, is 45 pesos. He was trying to charge me better than 50% more. So then I went back to the tourist office and told them. They got me a remis, which is another kind of taxi service. Haven't quite figured it out. It was 45. Nice guy, Gary, and he took me out, waited for me, and did my hike. Had a nice conversation with him. And when I came back, I gave him his 45 pesos plus another 10. So it worked out fine. The thing that's annoying, I tried to make the point to the tourist office, it's not the money. Most of us who come here, certainly from Europe or the United States or Australia, have the money. We wouldn't be here in the first place if we didn't. It's getting cheated, tramposo, that we despise. I am now in the Nain Maggie tea house, and the significance of this tea house, as well as the significance of the town of Trevelin, is it's the last, apparently last, remaining community that was originally settled by the Welsh, and still claims much of the culture of the Welsh that moved here. It's not really evident walking through town to a gringo that that's the case, but that is the story. And this is an old tea house in a new building, and apparently that's Nain Maggie. The root of and the cause of the Welsh migration here occurred about 150 years ago in Europe, England, when they realized that they would no longer be king, ever. Or in other words, they would not have any power and any rights or anything like that. They would always be second class. So they had searched, as the Jews did, somewhere in the world for a place to go. Following Captain Fitzroy's recommendations, 3 decades before a description of Patagonia, they decided this was the place to come to, and they did. So this is the formal, full tea that has cultural roots, unbeknownst to my class, in Europe. And that's what makes this singular. But there's the tea, obviously, in the pot of tea, sugar, cream, and then a scone, some buttered bread, and a couple of different kinds of currant jams, I believe. And then here, some of the pastries. This looks like a date bread. That's some kind of cream. This has that dulce leche, which everybody here loves, but to me is like a sugar bomb for killing diabetics. And this over here is manzana. I think that's apple. And so that's high tea. The grandfather, or I assume to be the grandfather, the patriarch of the family at this time, he spent the last 15 minutes going from table to table to make sure that the tablecloths are perfectly aligned and that the tables are squared to the room as he likes them. What I sensed in that was not the blind wanderings of an old man, but rather an expression of the details of the excellence that he wishes this business, perhaps of his mother, Nain, Maggie, to reflect. And it does on the inside. They do some very obviously wise things. If you have a cultural family heritage, express it in your restaurant with pictures on the wall of those people and those events that made your restaurant what it is today, the legend that it is today. It has music that sounds religious, and presumably is very Welsh related plays. I remain intrigued by the realization that man, in his ultimate intelligent stupidity, is unable to learn the lessons from others, that tolerance eliminates the need for all the aggressions that go with intolerance. It seems so obvious, and yet seems so predictably unacceptable to most cultures in the world. It's Saturday morning, and actually it's now afternoon, and this is a very nice, quiet, or tranquil little town. It looks like people who are owners of, let's say, a good-sized lot like this one, and here they're developing those out. So here's another building, perhaps for rental or a home for the family. You can see the pillars are up for additional buildings back there. Perhaps an indication of the advancing of the economy. This is some kind of homage to mimosa. Don't really know what mimosa is. Notice the little metal device for holding some flowers. Fortunately, in this smaller town, there is more respect, perhaps, for the monuments. There's no graffiti. After the little chill wore off, typical fall chill, absolutely a gorgeous, perfect day. Notice the beauty with which that hedge is maintained. Isn't that clever? You wonder what started that design. Notice the backyard, everything nicely done. Nice and green, nice and manicured. Even this outside portion. I don't recognize the name Scania, except to think it might be Scandinavia. But I don't know. W. Here's a nice double-sided street that seems to be on the edge of town. The town's not very large, so it's not very hard. But many trees, cabanas for rent there. And then the Tumba Malacara that we're going to is off to the right. One of the past notables of Esquel. Other than the spectacular things I go to see, what I most enjoy about travel is just wandering the back streets, poking my eyes into other people's lives. Old vehicles intrigue me because they're almost human. in that they've had lives that were closely related to humans, like dogs. But we can still see them. Their remnant is still here. I just wonder, what could the story be that this truck could tell of the lives that have used it. Paseo Don Pedro Alco. I think this means paseo or walkway. This is the obligatory parrilla or barbecue. Walking down this paseo, it's certainly evident with the benches, which are novel, the trees, which are designed to be where they are and are nice and shade. Obviously the person who built this wanted us to relax and have some smaller refuge from the heat. And we're about to enter El Malacara. We are getting closer. This looks like a 58 four-door Chevy. It is a Chevy. I think that's the year it was, but I'm not quite sure. Something about it doesn't look quite right to me. I think many of these American cars came here when the peso was worth more. Just a guess. Well, I can't get access because it's closed until 4 o'clock this afternoon. But anyway, there's a good old vehicle. Military. Who makes it, I don't know. Bald tires. Why not? Still work. The window goes up, I guess, rather than drops down. Looks like it has multiple gear system.